now, which is very exciting. Keshia and Ethan here to talk about their platform. For those of you who don't know, Highlight was the winner of the startup competition at IX North America this year. So it's always really fun to have them on stage. But as always, make sure you drop any questions in that Q&A box, and feel free to chat, say hello, drop where you're tuning in from, drop your LinkedIn in that chat box. But Keshia and Ethan, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks so much. And hey, everyone, so happy to join you today. We're Highlight, the agile in-home usage testing platform that's changing the physical product innovation game. And we are super, super excited to be here with you and show you how you can do good research fast. My name's Ethan. I'm the co-founder, chief product technology officer at Highlight. And my counterpart on this call is Keshia Peris, our head of client success. She runs the amazing team that ensures that the Highlight platform delivers you the data that you need to make your products better. You can scan these QR codes to get our contact details, and we'll share them again at the end of the presentation. My whole goal and Keshia's goal over the course of this presentation is to get you to want to scan that QR code. So make sure you've got your phone ready at the end of the presentation for scanning it. In terms of agenda, we've got your attention for the next half hour, and we're going to do as much as we possibly can to keep you excited and engaged. So I'm going to start a little bit by sharing the story of Highlight, where we come from, the problem we're trying to solve, and what we're doing about it. Next, I'll tell you how we're building an agile research platform to make your research better, faster, and cheaper. Keshia's going to show a quick product video and show you sort of around the platform. And then you're not going to want to miss Keshia covering a few case studies where we're going to show you how Highlight has revolutionized product testing for companies and brands just like yours. Finally, we have a little time at the end for Q&A, so hang on to your questions until the very end. If you were in Austin at IAX this year, you might recognize me, my co-founder Dana, for our win of the Green Book Startup of the Year award, as was just mentioned. And I just wanted to give Green Book a shout out for hosting all these awesome events, including the Tech Showcase and all the leadership that they do within our industry. So let's jump quickly into our story, which is really, your story too, because we built Highlight just for you. And as we go through our presentation, I encourage you to share any stories in the chat or send an emoji when you see something that resonates with you. It's awesome for us as presenters to know, that we're connecting with you as an audience. So you guys can feel free to use the chat liberally to just let us know. And our story really starts with a statistic. And that statistic is that 30,000 products are launched every year and 90% of those products fail. If that stat doesn't surprise you, it's probably because you've been on a product team that's gone through the whole product development process, launched something into the market expecting it to take off, only for it to tank and get yanked off the shelves. I started my career as a physical product designer. I've been on those teams. I understand how incredibly frustrating and demoralizing it can be that something you think you're confident in just doesn't succeed the way you think it would. And of course, we all know that the key to successful products is getting close to your customer through research and testing. We're all constantly being pressured to be more customer-centric, more agile. But at the core of it, it's impossible to be customer-centric and agile when research is slow and expensive. When it takes weeks and weeks to run a product test and get data back, it's impossible to innovate at the pace we're expected to. And I personally, witnessed this firsthand in my career. As a physical product developer, I had friends who were digital designers who could set up a study on user testing, leave the office at 6 p.m., come in at 8 a.m. the next morning, and they had data on their desk to be able to make another iteration. And I was looking at that being like, wow, this takes me weeks and weeks to just get enough data to make an update to my product. There's got to be a way to leverage technology to make product testing better. And so we come to sort of the other part of our story, which is that 1980s product research techniques don't work for 2022's brands and consumers. The market's changing, and as product developers and researchers, we're facing all of these pressures on the right. But our tools have hardly improved in decades. We've heard stories, Keshia and Dana and I and others at Highlight, we've heard stories that it can take upwards of 200 to 300 emails just to get a single in-home usage test completed. And Keshia and I talk to people every single day who skip doing product research they know is essential because the logistics and frustration of doing product tests just isn't worth it to them. If you've ever skipped research that you knew was necessary because you just didn't have the time or energy to do it, throw a message in the chat and we'd love to talk to you about it. At Highlight, we believe that you shouldn't have to choose between doing good research and getting home in time for dinner. It's time that people in the physical product world have the tools at their fingertips to do good research fast so that everyone can have the confidence they need to deliver products that our customers will love. And so we create a Highlight, the flexible, agile product testing platform. Highlight handles the entire end-to-end process of taking your product and sending it to consumers in their home, where they interact with, try, or consume that product and provide you with the feedback and data you need to make your product succeed. We all know that getting data that is as close to reality as possible is super, super important to ensure that that data is valid. So Highlight sends products to consumers in their homes because it replicates the real world scenarios they will be engaging with your product in a way that focus groups and certain other methodologies really can't replicate. As the first and only automated physical product research platform, we've leveraged technology to take the clunky, manual, frustrating processes of conducting physical product research and harmonize them together in one cohesive platform. So gone are those days of emailing and uploading CSV files into different systems. And instead of 200 to 300 emails to get data, Highlight's made it 2 or 3 clicks. We have built our software to connect all the different parts of the research process together so we can eliminate that manual labor and make the process more efficient. So you can get your data as fast as possible and go home at the end of the day without having to stress. Everything happens within the Highlight platform, so it's a seamless experience for both researchers and participants. And we cut that process that takes weeks and months down to days. And Keshia is going to tell you a little bit about all the value this is providing to research teams towards the end of the presentation. But for now, I'm going to give you a really quick overview of just what the product looks like to you. So first, you choose a plan and subscribe to Highlight. Our subscription model allows product testing to be at your fingertips at all times, so you can bypass the lengthy pricing and scoping processes you might be used to if you have a traditional product testing vendor. Next, you go into the platform, you set up the details of your project, like the audience you want to reach, the products you want to send them, the questions that you want to ask. When you send your products to our warehouse, we send them out to our panel of respondents. And then you don't really have to do anything else, but just watch the data roll in live in real time. At the end of the project, you get a complete data set in the format of your choosing, as well as dashboards and visualizations to make sense of those results. Of course, there's another side to this whole experience, which is our panelists, whom we call highlighters. And for them, it's a very simple process enabled by our web app. Someone applies to be a highlighter, and if they're accepted, we screen them into our community. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. We target highlighters with offers to participate in product tests based on your specifications. So we can recruit based on any number of criteria. The highlighter always has final say, of course, on if they want to participate in the product test. And if they do, we ship the product out to them and handle all the communication about tracking and shipping and emails and all that kind of stuff. And then when the product arrives at their door, the highlighter is prompted to complete their feedback on their application. And the deal is really simple. If they keep completing feedback, they remain a member of Highlight and get to keep getting more products. Of course, physical product testing and physical product research is really unique. And the unique aspects of this approach require a unique approach to how we build our panel. Because product testing happens at a relatively small sample size, typically less than 1,000 responses, we believe that each data point needs to be as good as possible to ensure that you can have the rich insights you need to feel confident in your decisions, and so that you can have statistically significant results. So that's why at Highlight we have this unique strategy where we screen our panel for articulation and engagement. We accept about half of all the people that apply to be a highlighter, and that scrutiny really pays dividends for us and for our clients. We have a project completion rate of over 90%, which means that if we send out 100 products, we expect to get back about 90 data points. And those data points that we get back are exceptional. The average length of an open-ended response is 20 words. So it's much improved over the typical one-word responses and gibberish that you might be used to. And we often get people who write paragraphs and paragraphs about little things like, why exactly a granola bar is a bit too crunchy, or how a specific serum felt on their skin. In addition to having a great engaged community, we know a lot about our panelists. And so we're not only able to target by any of these data points on the screen, but report them back to you so you can cross-tab, all this data to your heart's content. And finally, our logistics engine and software is able to handle all sorts of use cases. We can do refrigerated or frozen shipping. We can relabel, repack, or blind products. We can provide custom inserts or packaging. We can have one SKU in a shipment or 20 products in a shipment. If you name it, we've probably already done it through our platform. So to quickly summarize, the Highlight platform makes physical product testing more efficient, and we're making it faster and faster, every single day as we deliver new features onto the platform. Our curated community of panelists ensures that your data is accurate, robust, and as actionable as possible. And the seamless all-in-one platform puts everything in one place, so you can reduce your headache and rest assured your product testing is being handled. But don't just take our word for it. We've worked with hundreds of brands, big and small, to revolutionize their product testing process. And maybe your company is, already on this list, or perhaps one of your competitors is. But either way, you should know that teams that are using Highlight are far and away more agile and customer-centric than those who are stuck in the past. In a moment, Keshia is going to share with you some specific case studies that show exactly how Highlight has helped King's Hawaiian and Mondelez do better research faster than ever before. But before we get there, we got a quick demo video to summarize what we talked about and show a little glimpse into the platform itself. So this is for all the people who have been, working in another window and listening out of one ear. I know we all do it, and I'm not going to pretend like we don't. But now's the time. Pay 2 minutes of attention at least, and come and get, the quick summary view of how Highlight can solve your product testing problems. So I'll give you a second to come back and watch the video as I just get it started here.
30,000 products are launched every year, and 90% of them fail. Traditional product research is slow, expensive, unscalable, and unnatural. You shouldn't have to be stuck between doing bad or no research and missing deadlines. Today, we have to meet consumers where they are. That's where Highlight comes in. Highlight is an in-home product testing platform that lets you do good research fast. The world's most innovative brands use the Highlight platform for agile, scaled, and efficient product testing. Please streamline everything from recruit to data set, including all the logistics of getting your product to your target customers, whether they are cat-owning millennials or women over 50 in California with oily skin who are looking for rent. Here's how it works. Create an account and start a project by telling us who you'd like to get feedback from. Then ship your product to us in any quantity you want. We can handle everything, even frozen or refrigerated items. Head back to the platform and add the questions you'd like to get answered. Whether you're looking for quantitative and survey-based feedback or qualitative video and interview-based feedback, Highlight's platform can handle it all. Sit back as we then find your target consumers, ship your product to them, and load their Highlight app with your questions. In less than a week, log into the platform and see your data come in live with unmatched completion rates, 90%. Together, let's raise the bar on products. Let's Highlight.
Thanks everyone for watching the video, and I'm going to hand it over to Keshia now, and she's going to talk a little bit about the impact that Highlight has had on a number of different teams and how we can help your organization become more customer-centric and make your product testing processes even more efficient.
Thanks, Ethan. As a customer success leader at Highlight, I would love to share a bit more about the work we do and the value we provide our clients. As Ethan mentioned, we specialize in in-home usage tests and have been able to scale our impact across brands of all sizes. In just the past 6 months, we've tested over 250,000 products, 20,000 surveys have been taken, and over 13,000 Highlight boxes have been sent to homes across the US. The scale of our work has powered our vast repository of materials to guide you through the Highlight process. Clients come to Highlight with varying degrees of familiarity and experience with in-home usage tests. Our goal as a platform is to make the IHUT process as easy, intuitive, and smart as possible. So whether you've done dozens of home usage tests or this is your first time, you'll have the tools, best practices, and templates at your fingertips with Highlight to ensure your project is a success. You'll see we have
questionnaire templates built by category, best practices for blinded and white bag prototype testing, guides for choosing the right sample size based on your learning goals, and more. And of course, you'll have my team to help support you along the way. As you can imagine, sensory testing is a natural way to leverage an in-home usage testing platform like Highlight. Hundreds of products have been tested using our sensory survey module and make up a growing benchmark database that helps brands better interpret and assess product performance against the competition. Clients find this capability hugely helpful when they're entering new categories or tracking competition in crowded markets. Popular benchmark categories are listed on the slide here, and you can see a sampling of our outputs. But based on the product you're testing, we pull the benchmark categories and brands most relevant for comparison. Our clients also love the ability to test a product with Highlight from end to end, from ideation to prototyping to validation pre-launch to post-launch growth, optimization, and expansion. Now, you might be wondering, how do I use an in-home usage test if I don't even have a prototype yet? What would I be doing with Highlight in an ideation phase? As researchers, we know that the most reliable data and insight comes from reacting to something real, not hypothetical. So if you're looking to understand where the white space is in your category, Highlight would send a sampling of in-market products to your target consumer and use those products as STIM to tap into what's currently resonating, what isn't, and specifically what consumers want. In some instances, we'll create a custom community for a client, test a digital concept with that community, and then come back to them once a prototype has been produced with their feedback in mind and is ready for testing. This continuity is not only a value driver for our clients, but our highlighters love it too, the ability to see their input and action along this wheel. Now, no matter where we are on the wheel, we invite as many stakeholder teams as you'd like to join the platform and view the insights being gathered. Our goal is to democratize access to insights and break down any data silos that may exist. To give you a better sense of the impact we've had on our clients, I'm going to share 2 case studies with you. The first one being one of our favorites, King's Hawaiian. King's Hawaiian was one of the first big logos we brought onto the Highlight platform back in February 2021. Jen Norris, the consumer insights leader at King's, reached out to us to help them better understand acceptance of a few new products they'd be introducing. So our task was to gauge resonance among current and potential customers fast enough to impact those launch plans. So we packed and shipped the new products from our warehouse to a curated segment of our community that matched the target. And this audience happened to include verified purchasers of King's Hawaiian products. 180 buns sent, 94% tested the product and took the feedback survey. And it only took 4 days for the team to receive initial data via live dashboards in the Highlight platform. Fast forward to today, King's Hawaiian has 2 subscription plans with Highlight, and we work with both the R&D and CI team on an ongoing basis where they're able to leverage their annual credits with us as needs arise. Mondelez is another client near and dear to our hearts who's been with us from the early days. We worked with the Snack Futures team, their innovation and venture hub, on launching a new snack under one of their emerging brands in April 2021. This was a true agile sensory test where our primary stakeholder was a food scientist who would be monitoring results as soon as the first response came in to see if any formula changes were going to be required. With our insights, the team was able to adjust the flavor profiles of these prototypes to broaden appeal. We also uncovered a gap in concept to product fit that was passed along to the product marketing team for review. Later that year, we expanded to partner with the Kellough accelerator team within Snack Futures. Their mission is to provide startup CPG brands with tools, technologies, and expertise that can help them learn, grow, and succeed. So we fueled insights for 2 Kellough cohorts so far, testing over 15 products in all stages of development. These are just 2 brand stories out of many I'd love to share if we had more time. but I wanted to save a few minutes to speak about the impact we've had on our highlight community. As you all know, insights are only as good as the foundation they're built on, and we wouldn't be where we are today without our community of testers. Our community members join us to build better products and specifically give feedback. It's not about the points or the freebies, it's about helping products succeed that rising bar we have for them. In order to find the right people for our community, we use organic recruitment methods, as Ethan mentioned. We've been able to bring in thousands of product testers who are actually new to market research completely, giving a whole new pool of people a voice in product development. And we do a lot to keep them happy, so much so that 60% of our community growth actually comes from referrals. So we're extremely proud of this stat and what we've been able to build and the buzz we've created with Highlight. I hope you're just as excited as we are about the world of in-home usage testing and the power of Highlight. With that said, thank you so much for joining us today. I'd love to now open up the floor for questions.
Thank you so much, both of you. That was really great and thorough. And we do have just a few minutes for questions, like Keshia said. So please feel free to drop any in that Q&A box. I'm seeing a few here in the anonymous chat, and then one from Julia. Julia said she's wondering how you analyze your open-ended questions, and do you transcribe the data from video feedback?
We absolutely do. Our video software allows us to do a whole lot when it comes to analysis and synthesis, even creating sizzle reels based on key quotes or themes that you're looking to deep dive. Frankly, a lot of our open-ended questions do come through in video feedback, especially in the world of sensory or where there is a physical product. That visual explanation goes so far. So we actually rely on our video feedback a lot for that extra additional qualitative color. For any open ends that are just in the survey and we just have text, we can do open-end coding if that is helpful to our clients. It's really an option, not mandatory. But we really rely on what an individual client is looking for in order to figure out exactly which features are going to be most important to them. Some would rather just go into the platform, look at every verbatim themselves, do their own mining. Others are looking for our help with that analysis, and we're happy to meet you wherever you are on that spectrum.
Awesome. That's really helpful. Hopefully that answers Julia's question, but that's great. I would love to see the sizzle reels that you would do. That sounds super helpful.
There's some really great ones.
Yeah,
we actually tested some products with kids, and the sizzle reels are really fun to watch. Also pets, we have a lot of fun ones with dog treats and cat treats and things. So I'm happy to share if anyone's interested.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. Yeah. And as we're going through questions, again, just remind people to scan those QR codes. And also I think there's a big book time with me button on the session page where you can go ahead and just book some time with Ethan or Keshia. Okay, another question here. What sort of feedback methodologies can I use? Qual, quant, video? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so we support all of those. Depending on what your goals are and where you are in your product development lifecycle, we will recommend the right sample size, study design, trial length, and features to leverage. Typically, the more exploratory you are in your testing, the more depth you'll want. So this means less sample, perhaps a longitudinal test, or one that has a mix of survey questions and open ends, video, or for photo feedback. The closer you are to validation or making a go, no-go decision, the more you'll rely on those larger quant sample sizes. So all that's to say, there's a lot of flexibility in our platform to use a mix of qual and quant, just quant, more leaning qual, and video and photo is always there for add-on if needed.
Great, thank you. Another question here is, what's the way or what's your secret to driving speed to insights for iHeads?
Yeah, great question. And I love talking about this. the real secret that we've developed and what makes us unique is that we own all pieces of the process from the first moment the client talks to us all the way through to the final data set, and that includes our community, that includes the recruiting, the warehouse, the shipping, all of that stuff is all integrated with our technology to ensure that all pieces of the puzzle are talking to each other, and that data is streaming in live to the right places. So for a Highlight user, you don't see all the integrations that are happening in the technology in the back end. What you see is a beautiful dashboard that shows you what's going on in your process, but you don't have to worry about the details and nuts and bolts because the Highlight platform is handling it. And so, that's why with the Highlight platform, for example, we can recruit for, in as little as 24 hours, we can recruit directly from our community. And if the product's already in our warehouse, that can be shipped out, that same day. So product and the whole process just becomes faster and quicker because we built this technology to vertically integrate everything together.
Awesome. Thanks, Ethan. Hopefully that answers the question. But you mentioned that your platform was beautiful, and I have to agree, it's very aesthetically pleasing. I've seen a lot of dashboards in my day, and not many times you're like, oh, that looks nice. It's like nice to look at. So props to you guys. I think that speaks towards the service that you provide your clients. So that's great. So another question here: do you have the ability to go beyond the highlighter community if needed, based on target audience, and if so, how?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We custom recruit organically and not via traditional panels, as mentioned. The way that the process works is upon initial review of the screener specs, our team will then share whether extended recruit times are required for especially niche audiences. We would go out to social media, Reddit channels, depending on what the topic is or the category, we'll try to infiltrate those communities to find the right people. Recently, we managed a recruit that was roughly 1% incidence, looking for millennial men who use a very specific brand of beard oil. We were able to pull it off. Took us a couple weeks to find the right folks and screen them, but an example of that in action.
Great, very impressive. All right, I think we are almost at time here. I'll get to one last question. And for anybody who joined late, this recording will be available immediately after the session ends if you want to catch it from the beginning. So last question here, are you only DIY, or can you support through managed service?
Yeah, so I think this is one of the really interesting parts that brings a lot of value to a lot of teams. Because our platform, puts everything in one place, it allows for you to come in and do your whole process DIY from start to finish. So if you really, are comfortable in the platform, you understand how it works, you know what you're doing, you can for sure come in and set up the project and never have to send an email to a CSM if you don't want to get the whole project delivered. And of course, that's where we see, the greatest value in time saving and ownership for our clients is when they can come in and set it all up themselves, which is something that a lot of people, aren't familiar with, because this sort of a DIY platform hasn't existed for in-home usage testing before. Of course, on the other end of the spectrum, people aren't comfortable with this. And so that's what Keshia's team is here to do. And the client success team is here to work with you, to help you get the most out of the platform, to teach you. And if you're new to DIY in-home usage testing or new to product testing in general, Keshia's team is here to make sure that your project's on track, running effectively from start to finish. And of course, that you're able to get, the important data that you need to solve the answers and to solve the questions that you've got.
Sounds like you guys offer both solutions, so that's always so much to like to hear. Well, wonderful. Thank you both so much for your time today. We are right at the end, but really appreciate your presentation and looking forward to see where you guys go next. But and thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks everyone for listening.